The desert wind howled that night, carrying with it the sound of broken spirits and untold stories. In a land where justice was selective and cruelty thrived in silence, one woman's pain became a symbol of both devastation and resilience. Her bones were fractured, her voice barely a whisper, but her story refused to be buried. It wasn't just about suffering. It was about what happens when the weight of injustice meets the unyielding arms of compassion. What unfolded in that lonely stretch of the West would shake the soul of anyone who dared to listen. She had grown up on the edge of the frontier, where the rules of survival were written by men who carried power in their holsters and prejudice in their hearts. Life had never been easy, but nothing could prepare her for the cruelty she faced one fateful evening. A confrontation born from hatred left her crumpled in the dust, ribs shattered by the boots of those who thought she didn't belong in their world. The night was heavy. The stars dimmed as though ashamed to watch. Each breath she took was a reminder of her brokenness, sharp edges pressing against her lungs. She thought it would be her last night under the sky, her story ending in silence, another forgotten victim of a system that never cared to protect the vulnerable. But fate had other plans. Out of the darkness rode a figure most wouldn't expect, a cowboy hardened by the land but softened by something far more rare in those times: humanity. His eyes carried the weight of his own scars, yet he had not allowed them to turn him bitter. He saw her not as a burden, not as a stranger, but as a human being in desperate need of someone who would not look away. He lifted her gently, though her broken body flinched with every movement. Pain seared through her like fire, yet in his arms she felt something unfamiliar: safety. The world around them had long been unkind, but for a moment she wasn't alone in it. The road ahead was long. Every step of his horse echoed against the silence, carrying her away from the place that had nearly taken her life. But even as he carried her, the danger wasn't gone. The same men who had left her broken saw compassion as weakness, and they despised the sight of someone daring to defy their cruelty. The cowboy knew what they represented: a society that closed its eyes to injustice, that punished kindness, and that silenced the suffering of those who were different. Yet he didn't falter. He kept moving forward, even when whispers spread that he was harboring someone others would rather see erased. With each passing mile, the woman clung to the rhythm of his heartbeat. It was steady, unshaken, and reminded her that even in the darkest night humanity still had a pulse. Still, the reality was undeniable. Her bones were shattered, her spirit battered. Every breath was a battle, every hour a test of whether her body would endure long enough to see a dawn. The cowboy pressed on, torn between anger and resolve. He thought of the countless others left behind, the cries unheard, the stories untold. He wondered why it was so easy for men to destroy and so rare for anyone to heal. Yet as he looked down at the fragile life in his arms, he knew one truth: if he let her slip away, then cruelty would win another battle it didn't deserve. The night reached its breaking point when shadows emerged on the horizon. The men who had done this to her were not finished. They wanted to erase the evidence of their brutality. The cowboy's grip tightened, his jaw set with a fire that no weapon could match. They confronted him, demanding he let her go, insisting that her pain was deserved. The air was thick with hatred, every sneer and laugh a reminder of the injustice that poisoned their world. For a moment it seemed like violence would erupt once more, and this time no one would walk away. But the cowboy did not surrender. He refused to yield to cruelty, refused to drop the fragile soul he carried. With words unspoken but a stance unwavering, he showed them that mercy was not weakness and love was not a crime. The standoff ended not with gunfire but with silence. The men retreated into the darkness, unsettled by the rare sight of someone willing to risk everything for another's life. For once, hatred blinked first. By dawn, the cowboy reached safety. Her breathing was shallow, her ribs ached with every gasp, but she was alive. Against the odds, she had survived. Not because the world had shown her kindness, but because one man had refused to let it strip away his humanity. Her story became more than just her own. It was a reflection of the countless broken bodies and silenced voices scattered across history. It was a reminder that cruelty thrives when compassion is absent, and that the smallest acts of defiance, like holding on when others would let go, can ripple across time. The cowboy never sought recognition. His name was not etched into the pages of history, but his choice carved a quiet truth into the heart of the West. Humanity is the greatest form of courage, and as she healed, She carried with her not only the scars of her suffering, but also the memory of arms that held her through the pain, that refused to let her become just another forgotten casualty of injustice. The question remains for us today. When we are faced with suffering, do we look away, or do we hold on no matter the cost? Sometimes the strongest act of defiance is simply to embrace what the world tries to break.